Are you on a forklift?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the AJC. Obviously, it is another victory Monday, this time getting the job done against Cremonese 2-0. Fagioli with the Thunderbolt, but not all the news is good news, obviously, with Pogdown. We're definitely going to talk about that. That's one of the main headlines coming into this one in the aftermath. All right, I've got Ant with me. I've got Omer with me. Fellas, ready to tackle this one? Ready to rock?
Well, I had such a great weekend. The weather was nice. Pool's open. Pool-a-palooza for Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day again. Good job on wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day yesterday. I remind you 3 times to do it, so you do listen to me once in a while. Big win. Celtics winning 7 against the Sixers. All in all, good weekend.
There you go. There you go. All right. Omar, how you doing, man?
Yeah. I'm not as active as Tony. I just had sun without the pool beside it, so was just sweating most of the week and playing PlayStation. That's about it.
There you go.
Great week for me,
Amazing.
actually.
But you got the tank
you're
top
jealous,
on, and
aren't
every
you?
time Tal comes in the chat on the live chat there, he's always looking pregame for where you're at and where that tank top is. Become a little bit of a good luck thing. And into Thursday, you might have to make sure that you're available on that watch along or that pre-match show.
It's like 40 degrees outside, so you can rest assured I'm wearing tank tops for the nearest 6 months ahead.
There you go. We're going to take a couple minutes here. We're going to say what's up to everybody in the live chat. I'm going to remind everybody that joins in here, especially just because there are some trolls out there, some that like to go out there, throw thumbs down on the content. I don't know how sad an individual's life needs to be for them to actively go out of their way to go and do things like that to some extent. But that's why we, the AJC Army, have to remain strong and overcome it. Drop a like immediately on the channel. Let them tally up here so that those little creatures don't affect us. Okay, so hope everyone is having a great day. Ambivalent win yesterday. Nice to see Fagioli and Bremer score, but I feel horrible for Paul. I'm really starting to believe his body might have finally given out. We're definitely going to talk about Paul Pogba. Obviously, that's one of the main news headlines today is that his season is over, and what a season to forget. Arguably the worst from a player that I can remember for Juventus and injuries and whatnot, but we'll talk about all that on these headlines and everything. Jeremiah, hey guys, what a screamer from Fagioli, man of the match performance. Paredes, Bremer, and Rabiot played very well too. A strong second half. Yes. We will get to all of that as well. There's already a Storm the Barn in here from Jeremiah. I will flag that for you, my friend, and we will get to it at that segment. All right, so we're going to tackle everything. We're going to start, like I said, the headlines. Paul Pogba, his season officially over due to the injury, okay? Then we have a list of players, and Mirko Di Natale does a really good job of painting the picture of what the offseason is going to bring in terms of players returning to Juventus. So we're going to tackle all that, but first we're going to go through the game, and this will probably take not very long. The first half, a bit of a sleeper. Gotta say, sleeper of a first half. Cremonese, one intention in mind. It was clear from the outset. That was to park it. So we're going to tackle all that, okay? First up, the starting lineup. The starting lineup that had some fans feeling, wow, there is no consideration for Thursday and whatnot. And I leveled with them just saying, hey, you've got to realize that the league games are huge right now, especially with what happened in the other games, like Milan dropping points and whatnot. Milan was the key. The reason is because this game gave us 8 points. 8 points clear of them, and we still have to play them. If we can cover that penalty that we are thinking it's going to be around 9 points, I'm saying don't be surprised if we see more than 9 points. But that is key right now because UEFA Europa League semifinal and the final, 2 one-off games. You can't bank on that. You've got to go all in on these games as well. So I had no problems with the starting lineup whatsoever. And I'll drop it here, and then we'll get your guys' thoughts on and whatnot. Obviously, we had Perin, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Strong, Quadrado, Fagioli, Paredes, Rabiot, Chiesa, Pogba, and Vlahovic. What were your guys' thoughts on that lineup? Omer.
I like it. It's basically my FIFA lineup, and I don't know. I mean, it was all over the place because you couldn't know who plays where. Is Chiesa out there on the left, or is it just three at the top with Pogba and Chiesa? But aside from Paredes, who was actually very good in this match, I had no issues. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very strong. And Max obviously going all out for those points. And like I said, rightfully so. Rightfully so, getting after him. Anth, anything to add on
nothing,
the line?
nothing really to add. You hit the nail on the head there. Very bold lineup. Like, hey, we're gonna go after this. We're not like a lot of people were assuming. Like Luca was saying, oh, let's start Sule, Ealing Jr. and Meretti and Fagioli. Like, we're not going to send an under 21 team out there. Slappy. It was the exact opposite. He put as many guns out there as he could, and I was really surprised by it. And hey, need all the points we can get.
Well, if Luca wants to get his 2 cents in, he's just got to wake up on time. So
put
it's all good.
the fruit salad bowl down, bud.
Put the fruit salad down and get on here. Okay, now we like to give Luca a hard time, but he was being a good man. Okay,
he was
making the
good,
family breakfast on the Mother's Day and whatnot. He was being a good man. Okay, so I still am going to rip him every chance I get. So not going to stop me. Aldo, ciao. Now, Pogba. We talked about Pogba starting, and Lucci and I got into that on the Match Day Live, and I essentially said, look, they've got to know, obviously, they are going to know more than all of us from the outside looking in. So we're hearing from Max, and Max is notorious for this. I've been saying this for almost the entire season. He holds his cards close to his chest, and he doesn't let anything out. We hear from Max the day prior that he's not sure Paul could recover from more of a shift than what we've been seeing. But very next day, boom, starting lineup. So they felt confident enough that he could get at least that half in or whatnot, and then they can go from there and look at it. And here's the thing. I said it, and I'll say it again. All right. If he makes that decision, Lucci and I were looking at it on the Matchday Live thinking, if you were going to start him, would you not start him on the Thursday game? And the reason you could say that is because his performances have been so obvious and clear and strong in terms of what he's doing on the pitch. But you obviously have the flip side, which is you got to know. You got to know if you can get away with that and do that and whatnot. And here you go, starting him. It fails. It fails miserably, and not to the fault of Max or even the training staff or anybody. His body.
His quad just went.
Yeah.
The one thing is, I know a lot of people said, well, why did you start him on Thursday? Because Thursday, the substitutions are crucial. Because we're going in on a draw, and then you have the potential for extra time. I know you get an extra substitution at the start of extra time, but you don't want this happening on Thursday, and then you got to use up a substitution in the 23rd minute, right? You try them against a completely inferior opponent, right? There was absolutely no risk. You could probably make the argument, why not play him at halftime? Bring him in at halftime and play the second half. I didn't have an issue with it. I really didn't.
Yeah. I didn't have an issue with it either, ultimately. It is what it is. Omar, your thoughts on the starting of Pogba? I mean, I don't think any of us had a problem with it.
No, with him starting, no. Logically, if you think about it, and you want him maybe ready for Thursday, but Thursday could go either way. I mean, you can try and play him for 20, 30 minutes, and suddenly you hit extra time, and you have extra 30 minutes, so that's a guaranteed substitution that you're basically wasting. Or if you made all of them, and he gets injured, then you're down to 10 men. That's not a risk I would take.
Yeah.
And so you had to try him out. I mean, if he can't play for one half against Cremonese, he certainly can do it against Sevilla.
Yeah. The one thing is, too, is like people are talking about, well, if he plays him Thursday and something goes down, then you have to change your plan. Well, not necessarily, because if we look at yesterday, 3-5-2. 3-5-2, Pogba was a second. You just slot Di Maria. You just slot Di Maria in there. I don't think it's a
Yeah,
drastic
and
change of plans, and that's kind of my thing. That's kind of my one thing with this team in general is the plans and whatnot, because I don't know. And the first half of this one kind of played to that, because honestly, you got a team completely parking it, and this offensive setup, the final third, it still lacks a lot of togetherness and just an overall group plan on what they're going to do. Second half, much stronger. But Pogba started off good. I liked what Pogba was doing. He made a nice turn in the area. Shot got blocked by the one defender who, I swear to God, if it was not for him, this thing would have been an absolute rout. Okay?
Same guy who blocked Chiesa's shot.
Chiriche, yeah. So he was an absolute unit at the back. So he's blocked Pogba there. Pogba was looking good. A lot of one-touch passing from him. He was getting Vlahovic involved. He was getting Chiesa involved. He looked good. 21st minute, unfortunately, goes down. You could tell immediately from his reaction, it's not good. And that sucks. Absolutely sucks. It's gut-wrenching. I really feel for the guy. And as far as all the talks are going to creep up, you're already seeing some of them in terms of future, and even the announcer saying surely Juventus can get rid of him, or what are we talking about here? Like, it's going to be there. I don't, there's not going to be an insurance policy in there or anything. I'd be shocked if we had to go through something like what we did with Ramsey. I would fail to believe we have an insurance policy on a player that's represented by Mino Raiola's agency. Just going to say that right out of the gate. Good luck, because that is probably the best group to represent players out there, and getting a player to accept something like that, next to impossible. So I'd be shocked if there's any kind of insurance there. Guys?
Who wants, Omer, you want to start with this one? Because I'm got some things to
There's
say.
not much to say other than it's shitty. It's a shitty situation.
Yeah,
I feel bad for Paul.
Yeah.
the
I was.
second it happened,
go ahead.
I dropped my head. I mean, you just watched and you say, "Oh shit, I can't believe it."
Even
But
watching the
it falls in
players.
line with the season. Yeah, the players were.
You watch
they-
Di
they
Maria, you
felt for
watch
him.
Rabiot, you watch all these guys. They're just absolutely gutted, which gives you a solid intel on behind the scenes, and how everybody is rooting for Paul inside Juve's camp. It's just, it is what it is.
He wants to play. He definitely wants to play. It definitely hurt him inside. And the players were feeling for him, and they should. It's a shitty situation. He really wants to be there for Juve. Look, on the
Yeah.
flip side, we made it all the way to where we are today without Pogba. So would have been a nice boost, but it's not a be all end all situation.
He's a huge boost. He's a big boost. He's showing
He's
it.
a huge boost. Yeah.
He's showing it. But fortunately, it is what it is. 21 minutes in, he's got to exit. Milik actually ends up coming into
Hang on.
this one.
Don't I get something to say about this?
Go ahead. Fire away.
I was running the main yesterday, and the shit I was reading on there about people being excited that he got injured and seeing, and the "I told you so's" coming out. Like, I don't get. I got to be careful what I say here, because it was really frustrating. I almost just texted somebody on the team and just said somebody else run the main, because I could not deal with the animals, like actual human beings putting out there on the matrix. Oh, I told you so. You see, this guy, good. He's injured. Now we don't have to deal with him anymore. Stuff like that. Like, who are these people? Like, I don't really get it. It was all I'm gonna say is it was really frustrating, and I was really disappointed in a lot of Juventini yesterday. That's I get like the agendas, like Lou with Rabiot, but I don't think Lou would ever be excited that Rabiot gets injured.
No.
He wouldn't, right? Because he's a human being. I just that's I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna get out here. I just
I
found it
said
really
at the start of the
frustrating.
show, obviously there's one guy's got nothing better to do lately than jump on our stuff, our updates, and just come at me with anything and everything. And I don't really care. I feel sad for him, to be honest. That's what his life come to. But one of the comments was exactly that. It was, oh, how did playing Pogba work out for you, whatnot? And I said, that makes me feel really sad for you, even more so than I already did. The fact that you would take satisfaction in a player's injury to say, I told you so. That's absolutely ridiculous. All right. Be better as a human fucking being. That's all I got to say to that. All right. This guy is one step close from complete ban from the channel. I don't even know why I haven't done it already, but that disgusts me when people do stuff like that. It's no different than that guy Avsim on his channel choosing to root against Juventus in order to be able to say, I told you so about Max Allegri. Nobody at the end of the day is going to give a shit who's right or wrong. All we're going to be sad, happy, or upset about is Juve's results. That's the bottom line. That's all what it comes down to. So anybody taking satisfaction out of what's going on in Paul Pogba just so that they can pat themselves on the back, say, I told you so, is absolute
gross.
garbage. Absolute
It's really
garbage.
gross.
All right.
Anyway.
And I can't take it. Can't stand it. All right. So I'm with you 100%, man. But it is what it is. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Now, we get to the rest of the game. Milik had to enter this game. I wanted to ask you guys a question
Wrong.
because something I noticed, and it got more and more evident as the game went on. But when Milik entered, Vlahovic seemingly kind of disappeared.
Poof. Up in a puff of
That
smoke.
was a dumb substitution, and I said it immediately.
You
I
did.
mean, we didn't need another striker out there. Pogba wasn't playing as a second striker, was more of a ball carrier and spraying passes around. You have Di Maria on the bench, you have Miretti. There was no reason to put another striker in there, and that was a dumb decision by Max. Miretti could have flourished again.
Our two strikers, no matter what the I said it on the watch along, no matter what the combination that you play, when we have two of our strikers out there, it's
It
brutal.
doesn't work.
And the
It just doesn't
reason,
work.
is, and I've been screaming this, okay, from the mountaintops. When you play a traditional 3-5-2, we want to call this a 3-5-1-1. And the reason it's even a 3-5-1-1 is because of safety first. I've been saying this a lot lately. Everything Max does is rooted around safety first. Even this 3-5-2 setup. Anybody else who runs this setup plays two pivot midfielders with one attacking centrally to be able to support everybody. And you can have your two strikers and it'll work. With us, one of those strikers ends up having to be that attacking mid and create like that. It's weird. It's awkward. It doesn't work with the two strikers. It doesn't work. Our two strikers, every time we unleash two strikers, it doesn't look very good. One of them ends up looking very, very poor. But to be fair, even in a 3-5-1-1 setup that we have, our strikers have not been getting anything. Here's another game. Midfielder, defender, your goal scorers. Not for lack of chances, and Milik did have one taken away, which we'll get to, but I don't like this setup with two strikers because we're still not getting the same out of the mid. Omer?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they were working on it. I mean, the second we have two strikers on the pitch, they don't know what to do. Milik completely pushed Dusan out of the match. He was then first to every chance and occupying all of his space, trying to be a bit like Di Maria and dropping back, but he isn't. It just isn't. That's not your role. I want him to be in the center, and good on him for getting into positions and creating some chances. But still, I think it did more bad than good for the team.
Yeah, and I
And
think it
we
allows
have the
Cremonese to
personnel.
like
It was
maintain
easier
that
for them to close
wall
us
a
down.
bit easier.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Rather than have that dynamic movement and whatnot and get more off the ball movement and stuff. So I think it played to what they were trying to do right out of the gate. Anyways, 46 minute. This is probably it for the first half. Nice over-the-top ball from Paredes to Milik. He couldn't settle it enough. Carnesecchi coming in with a wild fist there, trying to punch that thing. It was.
Did he get studded in the chest? Did Milik catch him with his studs? It was close either way,
No,
but yeah.
no,
No.
it didn't hit him.
It was a while.
Okay.
Anyways, halftime. Halftime hits, okay? I'm fine with everything, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm still fine with everything. I think, like, Juve had their moments here and there. They were poking and prodding and whatnot, but it was too few and far between. Like, if you watch a lot of teams when they're playing a team that's going to outright park it like that, to that degree, to that
10
extent,
players.
man, you just pepper them and you get all over them. You swarm them with pressure and whatnot. You have to. And I just wasn't seeing it in that first half. I just wanted us to put them under a bit more. I will say Chiesa looked a little off in the first half compared to his second half. It was
Okay, I don't know if someone was going after me for what I was saying about Case in the first half, but he could not touch a ball to save his life in the first half.
Yeah, he was really
his
fighting it.
touch wasn't there. He wasn't having. He was doing the right things, but he was just off in the first half.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with he came out like a wild animal in the second half though. But
Yes.
I thought he was a bit off. Everything was just kind of dull in the first half, like a butter knife. Nothing was sharp.
Yes.
Nothing was really connecting.
A butter knife.
I think the stats
We were
were. I think the stats were 78% possession.
Yeah.
to Juve,
Yeah.
with 7 shots at halftime, and no real threat on goal. I didn't feel like we were actually very close.
And it must be said, out of those attempts, I
credit
think
to
4 of them
Cremonese.
were blocked. I think 4 of those attempts were blocked too. So it was looking
Didn't
like a
Rabiot
little
have
more.
long range?
There was
Rabiot had
very
a long range
little.
one,
Yeah.
Very
That's
little we actually threatened with in the first half. We get to the second half, all right? So second half, like we said, Chiesa's looking better. 53rd minute, now we start doing a bit better. It was like, okay, if we can get the ball quickly to the flanks where they can maybe try to take a guy on, draw that extra defender, because that's what Cremonese was doing. The second Chiesa got it, the second Quadrado got it, you would see the double team come in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes triple on Chiesa. I got upset in the first half a couple times because he was too quick to just try and cross it, and you've got bodies all over in front of you. Chiesa's got to find the open man, but then they have to do something with that. Okay, so they have to make something happen if he's going to draw all that attention. Well, second half, Quadrado starts to win a 1v1. An extra body comes in. There's the double team. He dishes to Rabiot. Rabiot takes a good hit, forces a stop from Carnesecchi. Milik comes flying in for the rebound. Heads it wide, unfortunately, and whatnot, but that's better. That's more like it. 54th minute. Chiesa taking on 3 defenders up the left flank. Beats the first guy. Again, can't get that ball to really roll for him the way he wanted, but he saw Fagioli running in, settles it, lays it out in front of him, and this was absolutely laced. My God.
What a shot.
Carnesecchi, when you watch the view from the back, man, he didn't even see it to the last friggin' possible second. Absolutely no chance, even though it was above him and whatnot. He couldn't even see it. He was so low trying to see the ball. And through that mess of bodies, Fagioli just absolutely thunderbolted that thing in there. Nice goal to see. He celebrated and then realized who he was playing against and then sent his apologies or whatnot. Hilarious.
Celebrate, kid, right in front of their fans. And then you give them if you're not down with DX, just boom. That's what you
He's
give
got
it to him.
respect for them. I have no problem with it. His
I
last
don't.
team whatnot, but this was a beautiful goal, and this made sense to what we had to do, right? If they're gonna double team, sometimes triple team you on the flank, you got to find somebody else, and they have to be able to do something with it. Beautiful shot from Fagioli. Good to see him on the score sheet. Had a little bit of a rocky moment there. Now turning the tides and whatnot. Obviously getting back to what we expect from him. He had a strong showing. Anything to add on this goal, boys?
It was just very, very simple what he did, what Fagioli did. Didn't try and like bend it, hit it low or try. He was calling for it. You could see his wide ass open. You could see him calling, like waving his arms, like a swimmer in distress. And then perfect. Didn't make a meal of it. Just placed it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's usually a good place for a shot. Dybala used to take shots from that square all the time because the keeper has bad visibility. So when you have an opportunity, just shoot it as powerful as you can and as fast as you can without thinking. You'll catch them off guard. And Karnaseki was good. He couldn't react. I
Yeah.
don't believe any keeper could have reacted.
He better save those when he plays for us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got a little statement in here. Karnaseki, obviously linked with Juve, is very overhyped. Vicario is superior.
Well, when you
Vicario
face
is-
45 shots a game, some are going to go in.
Karnaseki, we talked about that going into it. It was insane the amount of saves he had going into this game in 2023 alone. Most by any keeper in the top 5 leagues. 80-something saves, 83 saves or something. Wild. Now, we keep going.
Yeah, and Vicario has like 5 years on him.
Yeah. 76 minutes, some great ball movement from Juventus. They work it up the field beautifully with through balls, off the ball movement, runs into space. It's rewarded the whole way down, ends up at Rabiot's feet, and he tries to beat Karnaseki short side. It hit side netting. I actually thought it went in for a second, then no such avail, but beautifully worked from Juventus. We get a moment on another classic toe offside with Milik. And what frustrated me the most is when that snapshot is taken, the ball has actually already been hit and moving towards them. So it wasn't even the right spot where you even take that freeze frame. Because if you look at the freeze frame where they stop it, that ball is like almost a foot off of Di Maria's foot. It's hilarious. I find the whole thing funny. Regardless, it doesn't make a big difference in this game, but ultimately, these things are laughable. We saw what they did with Salernitana offside on Milik and whatnot, and it's just wild to me that they still make errors like this all over the place. But nonetheless, we know the offside rule, something's got to be tweaked. That's too chintzy.
I said this after the Lecce game. I got information from coaches here in our country that FIFA and the under 18s in Europe next season is going to test full body offsides, U18s, starting in the fall. So, and if anybody, again, it's like if your foot is onside and your whole body's offside, the player will be deemed onside. So get ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Might
have
be the way to go.
to like freeze frame it at the exact right moment where the part of the player's body was offside, then stop it. That's not the way to do it. I mean, offside should be clear. If it's
That's the way to do it.
one frame here, one frame there, and he's still offside, it doesn't really matter. He didn't get any advantage on the defender by having his toe, a few centimeters ahead of him.
You want to know something? We have enough subjective stuff with the handball rule in the box. The only thing that's black and white in football is the offside. That's it. It sucks. It's a toe. I get it. But until they change something, do we want them to make the offside rule subjective to say, you want the ref to go over and look at it and be like, no, let that in. Okay, how much of the foot? Is it the whole leg? Okay, what if a bit of his hips onside? Like, it's got, until you completely change the rule, it has to be black and white like that, because then it's just a whole other mess.
I'm fine with it. Just freeze the damn frame at the right fucking spot. It's not that fucking hard. Like, okay, you want to do it this way? That's cool. Get it at the right goddamn time. That's all
My
I'm asking.
understanding is that in the ball they have like little sensors, and it's like a little heartbeat, so they can see when the ball's hit, and then that's where they freeze it. And okay, that picture that you're looking at, like this much of his foot's offside, but then when you look at the computer generated image, it's like this much of his foot. So I think, again,
No, that is the one. His toes like this, barely.
anyways,
And then they pan out. You look at the live frame of where they stopped at that exact moment.
Good
That's
thing is
not
it
when
didn't
the
matter.
ball is hit.
Good thing is it didn't matter, but
They're idiots. It's not that fucking difficult. It isn't.
all right,
Yeah,
settle down. Settle down.
Look at the base of the rule and see where it's gotten to, what point it is right now, and there's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the attacker won't have any advantage. There is no advantage for Milik.
Mm-hmm.
He made the right movement at the right time. That's it.
What do the birds think?
78th minute set piece.
Shout.
And the set piece goals, we've got a lot of them. Bremer and Danilo are absolute units on set pieces for us. This one was flicked on. Bremer tries to take a hit at it. It's blocked. It goes straight up, and then he makes sure he gets above everybody. Heads it home beyond Carnesecchi. That's our 2-0 sealer. We had another opportunity through Rabiot, 84th minute, falling to him at the back post. Cleared again by the one defender who saved Cremonese from an absolute rout. Okay. Chiriche there. That and Milik's offside goal, I was praying. I was rooting for you guys to get that jersey giveaway. 3 goals and a victory. We came so close, but it's not over, everybody. Okay. We'll get another opportunity on Thursday, and then we will obviously not keep it the same. Going into that game, it's not going to be 3 goals and a victory. That was obviously for the Cremonese match. We will find new terms and parameters to try and give away the new home kit. By the way, I thought the new home kit looks great, and I
looks
like
fantastic. Now,
Yeah,
getting
I
back to
like
that
it.
Bremer goal. Getting back to the Bremer goal, there is an angle from behind the net on the side that he scores on. I think our main account tweeted out the speed at which he first reacts to the tip from Milik, and then his right foot plants, and then his left foot, and in an instant he jumps. It is the quickest I've seen. It's almost quicker than like a basketball player. Like he 2-foot plants and jumps. It is unbelievable the reaction time he has in that goal. It was fantastic. Like I think it's a little underrated how impressive it was for him to first deflect that and then jump and hit it in. It was quite impressive.
I think what shocks me is how high some of these guys can jump from standing.
From 2 feet.
Yeah, like it's crazy. When you look at the screenshot of the goal there and whatnot, he is so high from such a quick, no run-up jump. Like it's just from standing. It's wild. It's wild to me. The athleticism. Awesome stuff. Bremer's an absolute beast. That guy can have so many more goals this season. He got an opportunity, I think, in the first half as well on a header, but he put it too close to Carnesecchi. He did the right thing, got up, headed it downwards, just that it was too close to Carnesecchi. But Bremer's an absolute
I think
unit.
he probably has at least 4 or 5 more that he could have.
Oh,
When we
yeah.
say 5,
At least 4 or 5 more goals he could have this season. Like, easily. The same goes for Danilo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think I posted it yesterday and no one corrected me. So it must be right because people like correcting other people more than anything.
It's true.
He equaled Bonucci's record of goals for a center back in one season, which was 5. So 1 more, and he's the new top scoring center back for Juve in one season.
Is that just Serie A goals, or that's in a season?
In a season.
In the season, okay.
And Gatti as well. Yes, Gatti's beast as well.
How many does he have? 3? 2.
So
Gatti too.
Gatti's got 2.
Got 2.
Yeah.
But both
Now,
of them in Europa League.
Man of the match. We're going to go through this. Everybody in the live chat, some of you already wasted no time getting your man of the match earlier in the chat. Absolutely love it.
Mhm.
Man of the match in this game, Omer. Who was yours?
Fagioli.
Fagioli. There you
I,
go.
the mid, yeah, the second the match ended, it's Fagioli. There are some honorable mentions, but for me, it was Fagioli hands down.
Yeah, yeah. Anth.
Yeah, I had for honorable mentions, I had Danilo, Rabiot, and Chiesa because even though he came off, he had a good second half. But my man of the match, I had it double underlined was Beans himself. I had Fajoli as well.
Yeah. There you go. So we've got Fagioli, no doubt. We've got Paredes, who
I
had
thought Paredes
a
had a good
strong
match too.
showing for
He did.
himself. Fagioli bossed yesterday. Fagioli and Fagioli again, not far behind Paredes. Yeah, like, I mean, I put it as Fagioli out and out above the rest. Obviously, there's good shouts elsewhere, but I think the game was a bit too easy for some of the others to give it to them. Like Bremer had a strong, strong game, but it was very easy for him. Very, very easy for him. All the guys at the back had it very, very easy. Fagioli, for me, in the position he had, obviously finding the breakthrough, but just everything he did, and he was very, very active. He was moving all over the pitch, and I think it was an awesome, awesome performance from Fagioli. I'm happy to see it. We talked about a little bit of a rough patch there for a bit, but that is the way you re-enter the starting 11, whatnot. Beautiful, beautiful showing from Fagioli. So I give it to him. All right. Now,
Also a shout out because we like Italian football. I mean, Kirikesh, the defender, was phenomenal yesterday. That was a great defensive showing. He's the only reason this game didn't end in
he
like 4
stopped
goals
that
to
thing
Juve.
from being a blowout. Okay. He was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
he was
Ridiculous.
reading the plays, blocking shots everywhere. I mean, credit to him. That was a great performance for a
Yeah.
defender.
Paredes. Paredes getting a shout from Dells as well. Good showing for Paredes. Doesn't change anything, though. It's not going to change anything.
I got some numbers
No.
for
Fire away.
Omer, if you want to. So this was from the numbers I calculated here in my little spreadsheet. Was doing the whole concede, not concede. I was like, oh, let's look at clean sheets. So Tech has played 36 games from what I count. He has 15 clean sheets, which is 41.67% clean sheet rate. Pedine has 8 clean sheets in 19 games for a 42.11%. So Omer, there you go. He has a higher clean sheet percentage than Tech. He's played worse opponents, but still has clean sheets.
I hate stats.
That is for you, Omer. I gave that
Thank you.
for you.
Thank you, but I hate stats.
All right.
I mean, we just went through our halftime stats. It means nothing if you don't score.
Okay. You're welcome.
Guys.
I
Take it
could have
easy.
been Juve's
The
goalkeeper
tech
last night.
Pedine
It's
thing with
true.
you two. Just settle it. Just end it already.
I was helping him out.
So Alex asking if Paredes plays out of his mind in the semi and the final in Europe, would it change my mind on keeping him? No, it wouldn't.
That's a good segue. Even if he scores 4 goals a game, we still have like 20 midfielders coming back for next season. So, and he's on a higher salary than most of them, I believe. So
Yeah.
that's a hard no. No
I
matter
don't know.
what.
It's not. I mean, I wasn't like a huge Paredes guy even when we signed him. So I don't know, and I was so disappointed for the large part of the season. Let's put it this way, okay? If we are still unsure, and the majority of the fan base is unsure about Rabiot after doing it for like towards the end of last year and the entire season of this year, and we're still unsure, we're gonna change our mind over 4 games on Paredes? Like, no. For me, it's still a no.
No, that's being prisoner of the moment. I mean, just no.
And
Victor
while I
can be
agree that
personal.
there's some truth here, he's not as bad as everyone makes out. His season for Juventus has been as bad as everyone makes out.
100%.
So, as an individual, as a player, no, he's not as bad as everybody makes it out. But no, like his season has been brutal.
Maybe I don't know if you wanted to say. I guess we're done with the game. I don't know if to Omer's point we could segue into the players coming back,
We
and you can
we
just say
are
if they,
there's still like a couple here because like Alex is saying now this gets good into the returning players.
okay.
I don't think any of the returning ones are better than him. We will need experienced midfielders. If he can turn it around, we get a good deal. I'd be okay.
What's
All right.
experienced midfielder mean?
Well, let's take a
I
look.
think
So
you. I think you're alone on this, Alex.
I think so.
now,
He
if
might
we
be.
look at this, if we
No,
look
I
at
mean,
this,
the
okay?
title, that's his opinion. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Artur's going to be returning. He's going to go out immediately.
Get him
Zakaria
out.
expected to come back. This one is, for me,
I think he should stay.
I'm okay if Rabiot ends up going with Zakaria. Just there, keeping it on that swap, okay? Let's just go player for player. Even though I think, obviously, we'd be losing quite a bit in what Rabiot's been able to give us this season with Zakaria, but I'm not completely done on Zakaria. Kulishevsky starting to look more towards a return. Kulishevsky could help up front if Di Maria goes and whatnot like that. He could be, but the question mark remains under Max and whatnot. Max definitely didn't get anything much out of him at all. Wanted us all to just get rid of Kulishevsky. So there's that. McKennie, it's got to go. So right now, McKennie or Paredes, I'll give you Paredes, okay, over McKennie. Rovella, I will take Rovella every day and twice on Sunday over Paredes. I will. For the roster next season, if you want experience, Locatelli's got experience. Paul Pogba, who knows what's going to happen, everybody. But I get the experienced midfielder thing, but I'm not sold on Paredes keeping him. And if it came down to Rovella or Paredes, I'm taking Rovella. That's just me. That's just me, guys.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. I think Rovella is, we paid 11 million euros for him last year, 2 years ago, in a January window. So they have it set that he's the future. So
he's been bossing it. He bossed it again yesterday.
Apparently he had a good game, yeah.
He saves us a ton on salary. That's a
Whack ton of money.
big salary savings. But, I mean, I get where Alex is coming from with the experience. But I don't know. There's a lot of factors in there. But out of those guys, I will give him that Paredes is probably up there until I hit the Rovella name. That obviously the one thing you're going to sacrifice is experience and whatnot. And I don't know if Paredes plays enough over the end of the season here where he can boss it like that, maybe. But I can't help but feel like this was a Cremonese that absolutely parked it. How hard was he pushed? How hard was this game for those guys? It's why I don't put him when we're looking at a man of the match type performance. Like Cremonese did absolutely nothing. Everybody.
Barnechea could have played that game. Would probably might have been the same thing.
I don't think Barnechea would have sprayed the ball as nicely as Paredes, but ultimately, yeah.
I think we would have been okay with him in there.
Pellegrini, another returning player towards the sale, and Cambiaso will return. But that's for what we're looking at for returning players. Let's move away from the midfield. What are your thoughts on... What are your guys' thoughts? Actually, we'll just keep one. Zakaria. Could he be a guy we could use in Rabiot's or
Omer?
move him away?
I don't know. I mean, he's relatively injury prone, and relatively injury prone do very bad at Juve. They become really injury prone. So it's nice. I like him as a player. I think he's actually a great midfielder. We've seen how Max utilized him. It wasn't good. And if Max stays, I doubt he'll try anything else. So, as sad as it might be, I don't think his future is at Juve.
Yeah. Yeah. Ant?
A lot of question marks. Is Allegri going to stay? Can Allegri use him properly? How do these players play under Allegri? I don't know what I'm with you, Al. There was something I just saw something with him. Maybe it was the first match he played, the first couple matches. I like this style of game. Okay, Omer, I'll concede that if he is injury prone, then that's something that we normally don't deal with well at Juventus. But I don't know if Rabiot leaves. This guy's not demanding a high wage. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a role player. I don't know.
We're just going to be so limited, right? Like, we're going to be so
Yeah.
limited in how many moves we can bring. Like, you got to really
Yeah.
be selective. It's a very, very tough summer Juve is going to be going into.
Yeah.
We need to pray
I
for
don't-
Leeds to stay up and
Come
take that McKennie deal, okay?
Come on, Leeds.
We need
We're all
we
Leeds.
need one of these to be a deal, okay? But
We
in
actually had
terms
a really bad
of
luck.
Kulishevsky, what are your guys' thoughts on Kulishevsky?
I think he would be a great bargaining chip for another player. He does have value. He's young. If you're looking to bring in, I don't know, I'm just throwing out like an SMS or something like that, then Kulusevski could be the one to trade him for and lower the price significantly. But if he chooses to stay, I mean, Di Maria's contract is still up in the air and we don't know what's going on there. If he does decide to stay, he could be a great utility player, maybe even first team player, in the future. So I'm good either way. If we can use him to bring someone else in or keep him, I actually don't mind either of those opportunities.
I don't
to
mind
take him.
either of those scenarios either. Actually, Ant, anything to say on Kulishevsky?
He was the young player of the year when he was with Udinese. Is that who we got him from? So he won the award for young player of the
No.
year.
Parma.
Bottom. Sorry, I apologize. And then he came to us, and he had an okay. I think it was under Pirlo. He had an okay season, and then just under Allegri couldn't get it going. He's another tough one. He's like Zakaria for me. I think there's potential there. He's still very young. Like, it's not like he's a 29-year-old midfielder. So maybe with the right coach, they can get something out of him. But I don't know. I'd be okay
it
either way
depends
with
on the coach a
Kulusevski.
Because he
I'd
was
be okay
pretty
either way.
open about not liking Allegri, not liking the
He was.
system. I mean, and you look at our attack this season, and it's not like any other attackers have flourished under Allegri. It's
Mhm.
mostly the midfield and defense, so I don't see it changing even if Kulusevski comes back and Allegri is still the coach. Just, same old, same old.
Yeah. Alex saying Kulu, I see most use in having Panita going out. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they want to do. Guys, now we know these league games have all become critical. May 22nd is the big day. We have a game, okay? On the same day, we're going to get the ruling on what the new
Awesome.
point penalty is.
Of course we have.
Of course we
And-
do, right?
That's a holiday for me and you, Berto.
Yeah.
So we're off that whole day.
Yeah, we'll be off that whole day. I'll be able to do a watch along, all the good stuff. We'll cover. We'll have the match day live. We'll cover the news on the point penalty. We'll be live.
Let's
We'll
just
be
have
going through it.
let's have a full podcast day, like starting early, and just
Wow.
dishing out the news as they go along, talking in between.
Just
maybe have
me
some
hooked
guests.
up live nonstop for the entire day. No. Too much. Too much.
Well, Anish is available.
We can make it.
if
We
you
can
want.
make it happen.
We
Listen,
can make it.
now we got to wait for that in terms of what's going to happen on the league, but other results are going our way. Obviously, Milan is in a little bit of a free fall, which is good for us. Obviously, May 27th will be when we play them, and that'll be a big one for Juventus. Obviously, we've got to open up that gap to be protected before the points come. Thursday is next up, though. That is the return leg. We are traveling to Spain for the decisive game in that semifinal. It is essentially now 2 finals for Juventus. All right. And man, how do you guys feel going into that game? I was hoping Cremonese, we would open them up and have a strong game, especially with all our starting lineups. But yet, it just seems like we can't shake the bad vibes. Pogba goes down and whatnot. You still struggle to get your 2 goals and whatnot. But like that goal at the end too, a lot of fans felt differently about how we went about getting that draw. Obviously, we talked about it. Some saying, why are you cheering for that? We played awful, whatnot. No, of course you cheer for it because we've got less work to do when we go there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that set us up mentally? Because here we have a couple of guys, ex-Juve players, Barzagli being one, saying that Gatti's goal essentially changed the frame of mind going into that game. It definitely gave a lift. They were getting prepared almost to head over there 1-0. Now it's 1-1 and it's all to play for. But how do you guys feel going into that game? Anth?
Oh, now that you just brought up, my stomach started churning a little bit. Maybe it's the breakfast, the coffee. I'm not sure, but geez, we got so many days to think about this. But yeah, sure, we'll get into it now. I really hope that they go after Sevilla because before the game, everybody on here, everybody on the Matrix was saying, let's watch out for Sevilla. Now, until after Ocampos went out, they did nothing. So if they have a game plan for that one player, I think we'll be okay. But they didn't impress me at all. They look like an 11th place La Liga side, to be honest. And so I think if we game plan for that one player properly and just cut down the mistakes, we should be fine.
Did we look like a second place Serie A side?
Well, no, but
See.
we look better than them. I think we look better than them.
Yeah. Sorry, I haven't watched the match in its entirety. I was on a wedding
You're not missing
that
much.
day. Yeah, I got my updates through Twitter, so I don't know how reliable they are.
If
Not
we
a good
look at
place
this,
for updates.
going into this game, I think, been saying it over and over and over, and I can't help but feel the same. And it kind of touches to Anth's point. We got to worry about ourselves. Juve is our own worst enemy, and this is not a disrespect or a knock to Sevilla in any way, shape, or form. As we know that their record in this competition, whatever, they've become the Europa League side essentially. So it's not a knock on them, but we really don't know what we're gonna get from match to match. We could come out and we could fall absolutely flat on our faces. Or we could come out and play a really strong game. But the thing is that in either of those scenarios, the goals are still hard to come by for this team. Sevilla at home is going to be raring to go, ready to go. We are good on the road. Okay, good enough to do some damage. Starting lineup will be key and whatnot, but I'm really like it's becoming more and more evident, I think, when we look at all this and everything, how critical what we do is on that one player. It's always that one guy, and even when you have all the guys in there, like at the start of yesterday's game, it was clear it was Paul Pogba, and everything had to go through him and was going through him, and he was the guy. When he left, and this is the one thing with Di Maria playing that role, it's hit and miss. There's games where he takes it and he runs with it and it's wonderful. But there's games where even he just can't impose himself into that game. And he didn't look good against he didn't look very strong against Sevilla the first goal. So it's very, very difficult. Chiesa is that kicker. But will Max play him again as a wing back? That's what he did yesterday.
Yeah.
Omer.
So I feel like all those guys need to play. I mean, Chiesa was in the second half. That was the Chiesa we knew. That was the Chiesa who
Yeah.
can do anything at any given moment. That's the guy we need on the pitch from minute one. Not I hate when we're banking on him to make a cameo as a substitute and turn the game. Having said that, Di Maria tends to shine when the pressure is on. In the most important game. That's what basically made his career and made him who he is. He always shines when it matters. So I have a lot of expectations from him. I think we need more than two attackers on the pitch. We have to. That's it. They're fit. The guys are fit. They can play. You have Ealing. You have Kostic, who was rested. Chiesa was subbed off. Di Maria was subbed in late. Vlahovic, Keane, Milik, take your pick. Feels like kind of the same, no matter who you choose. But have some bodies in there. Have some
Yeah.
guys who can create something. That's the way to go. We gotta get a goal. I don't want to get dragged into overtime and penalties and leave it to God.
Yeah.
Win the gut.
This will be interesting if they start if they start Illing Jr. and then you bring Kostic on just in case you go to extra time, because Kostic with his pace, he's not doing 120 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
You
fun
might
to
have to
rest
start
and make him
Illing Jr.
get back to his former self.
Let's talk about this. 4-3-3 versus Sevilla. Gatia right back at the call. But let's just talk about, do we go into that one 3-5-2? When we first played them, we switched it to a 4-2-3-1. What do you guys think about that? Do we change our actual setup into a 4-3-3 or a variation to a 4-2-3-1 or something? What do you follow it up or go back to this 3-5-2? Anth.
I was going to throw it to Omer first.
Omer.
I don't know. It's a tough one. The
It is a
3-5-2
tough one. It's
very-
extremely hard to try and think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's why I rolled Omer
Because
first.
the 3-5-2 is very good defensively for us, but it does next to nothing in attack. Gotta find a way like to shift between the formations, mid game with the same set of players you had. But that means either playing Chiesa as wing back or none at all, and just play Kostic there or Ealing. It's a tricky one, but I'll find a way to mix them both so we don't play like a 3-5-2 in attack. But either way, the midfield unit should be kept to three people. Hopefully, Locatelli, Fagioli, Rabiot. And Quadrado, well, we can't do anything about it. We have no other options. The questions are on the left striker and possibly like sort of a left back from Danilo. Or Sandro gets to play that match.
Yeah. I will say this. There's so many question marks coming out of that first game when you're trying to think about this and trying to make this call. Number one, Danilo looked way better the second Bonucci left that game. He looked way better. So getting that group correct at the back goes a long way in its own. So for me, I know we want the 4-2-3-1. I know we want the 4-3-3 and whatnot. I'm leaning towards very similar to what we saw yesterday, to be honest, in terms of how we line up. I want to see Bremer in the heart. I want to see Danilo on that left side. I want to see Gatti on the right. You pick your wing backs, and to be honest, if that's how you got to get Chiesa in there, you get Chiesa in there. You just let Danilo and you let that midfielder on that left side know that their job is to protect, because you want Chiesa to push. And you want Chiesa to be the guy that's attacking forward and putting that back line under pressure. I would probably go with that 3-5-2. It helps flood the midfield. It has protection at the back. Sevilla is going to be very, very strong this one. And we're going to be relying on those guys. We're going to be relying on the Di Maria, the Chiesa, and whoever he chooses to be up top. Would you guys choose Vlahovic? Would you choose Milik? Keane came back for a cameo yesterday. Looked very, very good. Very, very strong, I thought. Who would you put up top in the one striker role?
My heart says Vlahovic, but again to the lineup, I'd go with 3-5-2. It's what got us here. There's 4 games left. I think. Listen, Max is gonna Max is going to defend for his life. He is. He's going to try and counter, and we all know that's what he's going to do. So let's just get out in the open. That's what's going to happen. So 3-5-2, that's how he's going to play. Up front, my heart says Vlahovic because everybody wants to get him going. Would not be shocked if Milik starts this game.
Omer,
Based on the amount of work
who
he's
would you
going to
put
want
up there?
happening.
I guess I'm the same as Ant. I mean, I want it to be Dusan. I want him to get the goal and be the guy to take us through to the final.
Mm-hmm.
But Milik kind of feels, if I'm going with my head, Milik feels like the right choice. He's much more involved in the game, and we need everyone involved. In the build-up and stuff. Dusan usually waits in the area. Milik is involved, and we need that.
I think Max is planning that this one's going to extra time. So I think he's planning on bringing
Aldo's making a shout here.
Come on,
saying Keane is starting 100%. Aldo, I'm gonna tell you this, okay? Now you've already won a kit off us, okay? If Keane starts and you're right 100%, okay, we'll get you something from Striped Hearts Apparel, okay, from the merch store or whatnot. If you are right and Keane start, because I don't think Keane is gonna start this one.
But that's the same thing ever.
I'm the same as all of you. In my heart, I want it to be Dusan. I don't believe it's going to be Dusan. I think it's going to be Milik. Keane, he looked good yesterday, but at that moment in the game, Cremonese finally had opened up 2-0, down, whatever. It is what it is. I wasn't taking a whole bunch onto it. He had a ton of space running at them on counters. I'm not going to take a whole bunch out of that. Keane, though, has done his part this season, okay? But we will see. We will see. There you go, Aldo. If he starts, though, get yourself something off there, okay? And you could potentially pick somebody else from the AJC Army to get some kits. By the way, speaking of AJC Army, for ways to support the channel, Super Chat is enabled. There's memberships. You got to be on a desktop to go onto YouTube and then join. There's 3 tiers of memberships there with some great stuff. All right, and then of course the easiest way is just sharing the content. All right, that's the easiest. Now, Thursday's gonna be huge. We're gonna put these guys on the spot right now. I want everybody in the live chat to talk about this. So, well, I guess we should kind of just talk about Vlahovic's problem in general. So Drew's saying part of Vlahovic's problem is he just waits for the ball with little to no movement. Milik and Keane are constantly trying to create space and find pockets to exploit. This has been pointed out quite a bit in terms of Vlahovic and whatnot. Adriano says Vlahovic 100% playing on Thursday. So there you go.
Oh, he's playing.
How do you guys feel about Vlahovic in general? Like, are you still... For me, it's still a combination of multiple things. But in a game like yesterday, I kind of started to feel like yesterday's game, just speaking to yesterday's game, was a bit more of a Vlahovic problem. I don't know. Did you guys feel that way in yesterday's game?
I think once, like you said before, once Pogba went out, you saw a different Vlahovic, right? He was less active once Milik came in. I don't know if that's the game plan. We've said this enough on this show. The 2 striker thing just does not, just doesn't work.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
I know Vlahovic has played with Di Maria. He's played with Chiesa up there. He's looked the best when he plays with Pogba there. But again, I think it's just a combination. I don't think there's one issue that you can point to say, oh, if you fix that, Vlahovic is going to start bagging hat tricks all of a sudden. I really don't think there is.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things for sure. For sure. Now, whoever plays better be on.
Score.
Thursday is going to be massive. Absolutely massive. Mm-hmm. Let's get into our own personal feelings now. I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Mm-hmm. Is Juve advancing to the Europa League final?
100%.
Okay.
I don't know what that. Oh, like gladiator styles.
Oh, thank you, you old man.
I was there.
You should know that. I know. Still alive to tell about
I'm
it.
expecting a strong showing. I'm actually going to go as far to say we are all going to be surprised at the performance that is going to come on Thursday. Okay? And I believe Juve will get to the Europa League final. All right? We are going to go to the final. I have friends in Toronto, members, the official fan club Toronto. They said they are going to the final. Should Juve qualify? Can't wait to link up for some footage there. Everybody, it's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a wild one, but I think we're going to go. Storm the barn.
100%.
We have time for just a few.
Let's
all
go.
right?
Fire 'em
get
out.
yours in there. Let's go. The one we kind of already answered, Apex, which is, would you give Zachary a second chance? We felt that he could be utilized potentially and whatnot, but of course comes down to options and everything else and what would be. But for Rabiot, I think obviously we'd be sacrificed some, but he could be used. Jeremiah says, thoughts? CR7 and Messi hardly got serious injuries at the highest level in nearly 20 years. Is Pogba to blame too for not doing his part in physical care? I mean,
those
I
guys
don't know.
are
I don't know
crazy.
enough to speak on that about what his personal care regimen really is, to be honest. Everybody's
I
body's
think
different and reacts differently. The way CR7 trains, not a lot of bodies can actually take that much training. Like, he actually trains so much, it actually surprises me. Messi, I don't know a whole lot about Messi's training
Drugs.
regimens, to be honest, because I know
PEDs.
more about CR7's because obviously he was involved with the club, but everybody's body's different, so I don't really know. And it's hard for me to just blame people when injuries come up. Like, I mean, they happen, and it sucks because for some they happen way more than others, and that's just the way it is. But I can't speak to Pogba's physical care. I don't know what his exact regimens are. What do you guys have to say?
well,
Pogba's injury was on the opposite thigh that he had work. Like the knee was his right knee, but he injured his left thigh. So these things just happen, man. I
Yeah,
don't think any more training would have done anything. Or
yeah.
physio.
yeah.
I
This
laugh
is
at
what it
this
is.
I
because
have
it seemed. I laugh at this because it's so true. Messi looks like he literally just shows up on game days. He does.
Yeah, like an over 35 game. Just
Yeah.
show up.
It's
Anybody got shin
hilarious.
pads? Fuck, forgot my shin pads.
yeah. I think okay. I have an answer for that. That what I believe. I don't know if it's the right answer, but look, holding someone to Cristiano standard is ludicrous. I mean, the guy that's coming from him. It's not only the way he trains; it's the way he eats and he sleeps, and he has everything calculated. I mean, there are not mostly any athletes around every sport that work as hard as him to achieve this perfection. Messi, he had a lot of troubles early on. He had to be given hormones because he did have a lot of injuries when he was younger. So it wasn't only due to training. Now, some of these
Figures.
guys like Pogba, who's been, on their peak for the past decade, and they've been ran through the grinder by UEFA and FIFA with competitions, tournaments, and some of these guys' bodies just gave up. They're not up for it. I mean, the best example might be Alexis Sanchez, and I've talked about this here before. And just tournament after tournament, summer after summer, playing at all the competitions, and 3, 4 fronts a season. Some guys, will take a toll on their body, and I believe Pogba is one of them. He just had too many with the 2016 Euros and 2018 World Cup, and playing for United in the Premier League. Just too much for some
Yeah.
players, and their body can't handle. I don't think it has anything to do with his training regimen or anything. I think it's just too many games for one person, and he couldn't handle it. And Golo Kante is just as injury prone as him, and he's been through relatively the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
no surprise to me that he's made it. That's his physical state right now.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, we'll see what time will tell what happens there and whatnot. And I'm sure we're going to get rumors galore about terminating contracts and whatnot, whatever. We just got to wait and see. Storm the Barn, CJ, I love the new kits. Why do people hate them online so much? People like to complain. I'll answer that question flat out. People
I
just
like how
to
he
complain
wrote
about
out
stuff.
"Storm the Barn." He wrote all the
I
words.
love
out.
it. CJ, beauty. President,
Don't change.
Baltimore Juventus official fan club. All right. Check them out if you're in the neighborhood. Great group of people. I think just people like to complain. I will say this about the kits. My only knock on it was I think it would be more effective with less stripes, a little more spacing between. I think it would have looked even better. And the numbers, I would have liked the numbers solid yellow rather than just the outline around the white. But other than that, I like them. I really, really do like them. Ashrith actually saying that he believes the best in the past 5 years.
I think it's going to be a big seller. I think you're going to see a lot of these out on the street.
Yeah. Now that Grimaldo has signed for Leverkusen, who is your number one left back candidate for next season? Omer, who's your number one candidate now with Grimaldo set to join Leverkusen?
I'd go for Parisi from Empoli.
Yeah, I'm being between Parisi and Mele, Joachim Mele of Atalanta, between those two for sure. Anth?
Sounds good, guys. Perfect. I'll go with what you guys say.
Anth, you kill me. Luca,
Empoli.
good day.
Which is,
We look dangerous on the left flank between Chiesa and Illing Jr.
Keep
We
him
also have
short here,
Kostic
Luca.
available as a left winger. Do you guys think we should try shifting one to the right side? If I had to pick out of the three, it would be Illing Jr.
Who's going to help out
I like
defensively?
Chiesa.
That's what a lot of people said
No, I
yesterday.
like Chiesa on the right. I think Quadrado is done. And that's our main issue in attack, I believe. We can't be dangerous from both flanks. It's always one side. Every game, one side works very hard and the other is non-existent. Quadrado was non-existent. There are games where it's only Quadrado, and that's the difference maybe from Man City and Byron, where you just don't know where it's going to come from because it's dangerous everywhere. And Juve is just overloading one side every game.
Yeah. I think I would choose Illing Jr. I just prefer wingers that are inverted coming into their shooting side and whatnot. Like Chiesa, I find night and day when he plays the right versus when he plays on the left. I find him way more effective, better on the left. That's just a preference thing. So I'd like to see Illing try that on that side. Going back to the Europa League and the final winning, make Sefrin put the gold on our necks. Absolutely.
He won't even show up.
That would be
He wouldn't even be at the game.
sight to see. Absolutely love that. Hopefully. Yeah, Ant says he wouldn't even show up. Yeah, probably not.
Then it will be Gravina, so just as good.
Yeah, Gravina
point.
just as good. Now, Dell's saying, how good is Giuntoli compared to someone like Marotta?
Well, Marotta he's one of the best to ever do it. Just
Look,
look at
if
what
we're
Giuntoli's done at Napoli.
I
Look
mean,
what he's done.
yeah, I mean, if everybody's praising Napoli now, and all their work they've done for all those years and to remain competitive and to do this and that, finally get the title, he's got to be up there because he's working with less than what Marotta's had to over quite a period of time. If we're coming to budgets and whatnot and what we're talking about, and Inter obviously had to empty the clip literally because they're in ruins now to get Marotta, to get the guys that he needed in order for them to get the title from us and whatnot. So how good is Giuntoli compared to someone like Marotta? I mean, to make these comparisons very, very difficult. Marotta was with us for a legendary period. But he also had, to rid Marotta of some of the wrongs isn't necessarily true as well, because some of the deals we are still dealing with were actually his involvement too. So
Some people are saying Sandro's deal was his. Well,
I don't think you're
Yeah, but
ever
it did-
going to find the perfect guy. Even the perfect guys make mistakes. Marotta made many. He made many. But he hit on a lot. And that's the big key is, are you hitting on more than you're missing? That's pretty much it. And I think if you're going to look at Giuntoli's record, he's hitting more often than not too. And the biggest thing about this is we haven't had a legitimate sporting director since Marotta, because Paratici, he's a scout, Cherubini, much the same. He is a legit sporting director. In comparison, hey, let's bring him aboard, get him for a period of time, and then be able to make some comparisons. But more often than not, he's hitting. Do you guys have anything to add to the sporting director talk on here in this question?
Like Lou says, just get a effing sporting director.
Just get one in here.
Just get one in the building.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we can't shake the fact Marotta did get two teams that he built into a Champions League final. Okay, that has to be said. Has any general manager been perfect with every signing? No, no one. Giuntoli, I like it. He did have his faults. Napoli had some very bad players with very bad deals over the years, and it took 8 years. Marotta did it in less. He still didn't get him into a Champions League final. So Marotta is like a tier above, but Giuntoli can get there. I mean, it's different working with Juve than working with Napoli.
But think about look at what Giuntoli's done. Insigne, club legend over there, out. Koulibaly, out. Like, he's not afraid to bring in the young talent, like change things up. That's what sporting directors do. So people are like, why do we got Sandro and Bonucci still? You think this Giuntoli guy's not going to come in and try and clean house? Impose his fingerprints on the club?
What's the countdown on the Sandro count too? So we have 5 games remaining, I think. Because two in Europa League, 3 in league. So 5 total remaining, but 2 are essentially finals. 4 is the magic number.
He's definitely going to play against Empoli, I believe, because Danilo and Quadrado are suspended.
That's correct.
Yep.
So that's 1. 2 games in Europa League is potentially, if we make it
potentially.
Through. And I doubt he'll start the final. Really doubt he'll start the final.
We still got to play Milan.
I don't know if he'll play Milan.
Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, strongest back 3 right now. That keeps him out and it keeps power in Juve's hands, which I think is critical. But
if I'm Giuntoli, I'm calling Juve and telling them, I don't want Sandro here next season. Don't play him.
And Omer has made that call personally as well. Moji is a legend. He absolutely is. Absolutely is. And we've got some great interviews lined up later on this year.
And we remember Reto Ziegler for Aldo, who asked. We remember Ziegler. Maybe Ant doesn't. But Al definitely remembers him.
Who?
Reto Ziegler.
Oh, Ziegler, yeah. Yes.
Of course, he remembers him. We
Moji,
also had Lucio
beauty.
and stuff. I mean, Moji was the guy.
Moji was a beauty. And like I said, we got some big interviews coming up later this year. Moji, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Everybody, look, it's going to be... The nerves are already setting in for me. This hasn't happened in a long time. Okay? I don't get nervous for games like days in advance. Usually it'll be the day of, depending on the match and whatnot. And to be honest, I'm trying to remember the last time I was this nervous for a matchup days ahead of it. Because for Thursday, I'm fired right up. I want nothing more than us to win this particular edition of the Europa League. Okay? This is going to be massive for us, and I want it so damn bad for a list of reasons.
A plethora?
But I honestly do think we're going to be surprised, and we're going to have one of our strongest showings this Thursday. All right, Omer, you got something to add quick here?
Yeah, on the sporting side, you even need that trophy to make it harder for UEFA to kick us out. of Europe next season. And on the fan side, I feel like we really need a trophy to end this season because we've been through the ringer. And I mean, we need it. I need it. Al, you're nervous because you want Juve to finally win and you can just rest. Say the season is over and it's not all that bad.
Yeah.
That would be great.
LJJ, if Juve go to the final, is anyone going to watch a game? I know of some in the Juventus official fan club Toronto that are going to be ending up going to it. I myself will not be going there. I will
Turkey?
not be able
I'm
to. I
thinking
would
about it.
love to. But what?
I'm thinking about it.
Omer. Do it.
Where is it?
I'm
Turkey?
thinking about
Where is it?
Do it.
I don't even know.
It's in Hungary.
Hungary. On a Wednesday.
Oh, I've been to Hungary. I've been to Hungary last year.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
Hungary.
Might go.
It's on a
might
Wednesday
go
night,
again.
so.
Yeah.
You're going there. You're going.
There you go.
Omar's going to the
Budapest is a
final,
beautiful
everybody,
city.
if we make it, all right? So you heard it here.
Budapest.
Depends on my
live.
wife.
Juve wins
Depends on my
2-0 over Cremonese. Fagioli with a
course it
beautiful return to the starting 11. Unfortunately, Pogdown. We got to get ready now for Thursday. Everybody, I'm going to keep you in the loop on the news with the daily update videos leading up to Thursday. Omar's going to be rocking a tank top all damn week. All right, let's see you here live Thursday for the Match Day Live. Watch along, still in question, all right? Still in question, but we'll see what can happen. Everybody, always a great time. Live chat, you guys are absolutely fire. Please remember to share the content anywhere and everywhere on social media as we continue to grow the AJC army, all right? Until tomorrow's daily update video, as always, fino alla fine, forza Juve. Glad we had a victory Monday to top the week off, all right? Hope you have a great week, and we'll talk real soon. Ciao tutti.